Breaking news has sent shockwaves through the nation as reports emerge of a potential conspiracy behind the devastating train crash in Ohio. As investigators sift through the wreckage, a troubling theory has surfaced that this tragedy was not an accident, but a deliberate act of sabotage. The implications are chilling, raising questions about who could be behind such a sinister plot and what their motives might be. Join us as we delve deeper into this unfolding story and try to make sense of the unthinkable and explore the forgotten past. In the wake of the Ohio train crash, the railroad company responsible for the freight train has come under scrutiny for its handling of the hazardous materials on board. The train was reportedly carrying a variety of chemicals, including highly flammable substances, and the resulting explosion and fires caused significant environmental damage. As a result, the railroad has been requested to take action to minimize the impact of these chemicals. It is highly concerning that one of the proposed solutions for dealing with the remaining chemicals on the Ohio train is a controlled release and burning of the hazardous materials. This approach involves intentionally releasing the chemicals into the air and then setting them on fire, a process referred to as controlled burning. While this may be a common technique used to safely dispose of hazardous materials, it is alarming to note that the first two rules for handling vinyl chloride are to never burn it and to never let it get into waterways. Such a contradiction raises serious doubts and questions about the intentions and competence of those handling the situation. It is troubling to consider that those responsible for handling hazardous materials may be disregarding established safety protocols, and even more so, that they may be doing so intentionally. The potential dangers of mishandling hazardous materials are severe and should not be taken lightly. It is crucial that proper protocols are followed and that regulatory oversight is rigorous to ensure the safety of all involved. Any deviation from established safety procedures must be thoroughly investigated and accounted for to avoid potentially disastrous consequences. There is growing skepticism among the public about the information being disseminated by government and health organizations regarding the safety of our air, water, and food. Despite assurances that these resources are uncontaminated, numerous videos have emerged online showing sick animals, people falling ill, and heavily contaminated water. Some have questioned whether these organizations have an ulterior motive in keeping the public in the dark, or if they are actively trying to make people sick. Adding to these concerns are reports that the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, changed the description of vinyl chloride just 10 days prior to the Ohio train crash. The change has sparked fears about the handling of hazardous materials and the regulatory oversight of potentially dangerous chemicals. All of these events are cause for suspicion and suggest that something may be amiss. It is especially puzzling in light of recent talk about protecting the environment and keeping our air clean. Many people are understandably concerned about the safety of their communities and the environment. While it is crucial to prioritize credible and evidence-based information, the skepticism and questions raised by these events must be taken seriously. Further investigation and transparency are needed to ensure that the handling of hazardous materials is done with the utmost care and that regulatory oversight is thorough and vigilant. Until such investigations are conducted and credible information is available, it is essential that the public remain vigilant and aware of potential risks. In order to find out what the government and the people in charge may be up to, we must first take a look at the past. To begin this, we will be talking about a more widely known section, MK Ultra. MK Ultra was a CIA program that operated from the 1950s to the 1970s and involved the use of various forms of mind control, including the use of drugs, hypnosis, and other psychological techniques on both willing and unwilling subjects. The program was highly controversial, and its use on unwilling subjects raised serious ethical and legal questions. The aim of MK Ultra was to develop techniques for mind control and interrogation, with the ultimate goal of creating a Manchurian candidate, a person who could be controlled and programmed to carry out specific tasks, often without their knowledge or consent. While some of the techniques used in the program were successful in achieving this goal, many of the experiments were highly unethical and caused serious harm to the subjects involved. While some of the experiments conducted under the program were unethical and caused harm to the subjects involved, conspiracy theories surrounding MKUltra suggest that the program may have had a much more sinister agenda. Some speculate that the program was part of a larger government effort to control the minds of the masses and further a secret agenda. Claims that MKUltra continues to this day, and that its techniques have been used to manipulate public figures and events have been widely circulated. While these claims lack credible evidence and have been claimed false by many news sources, they continue to persist. The extent of the damage caused by the program is still being investigated and debated, and many conspiracy theories have emerged surrounding MKUltra and its potential ongoing influence. While some of these theories may be unfounded, the historical reality of the MKUltra program serves as a reminder of the dangers of unchecked experimentation and the importance of ethical standards in scientific research. While it is important to approach such topics with a critical eye and to seek out credible sources, it is also important to acknowledge the historical reality of MKUltra and the serious ethical concerns it raises. The program serves as a reminder of the potential for abuse of power in secretive government programs and the importance of transparency. It is true that throughout history, the United States government has engaged in various covert and questionable operations that have raised concerns about their impact on the American people. One example is the aforementioned MKUltra program, which involved the use of mind control and interrogation techniques on both willing and unwilling U.S. citizens. Other examples include the FBI's COINTELPRO program, which targeted political dissidents and civil rights activists, and the Tuskegee syphilis study, which deliberately withheld treatment from African American men with syphilis in order to study the disease's progression. While some of these operations were eventually exposed and brought to an end, conspiracy theories abound about the extent to which such activities continue to this day. Claims that the government has used mind control techniques, conducted secret experiments on unsuspecting citizens, and even been involved in large-scale cover-ups of extraterrestrial activity have been circulated for decades. Operation Northwoods is a declassified plan that was proposed by the Joint Chiefs of Staff in 1962 as a way to provoke a war with Cuba. The plan involved a series of false flag attacks, including staged terrorist incidents and the hijacking of U.S. planes, which would then be blamed on the Cuban government. The plan also called for the use of propaganda to build public support for a U.S. invasion of Cuba. The plan was ultimately rejected by President John F. Kennedy, but it has since become a subject of conspiracy theories and speculation about the extent to which the U.S. government might be willing to engage in similar actions. Some theorists believe that the U.S. government has engaged in false flag attacks in order to justify military intervention, and that the official stories surrounding events like the 9/11 attacks and the Boston Marathon bombing may be incomplete or misleading. Operation Mockingbird was a secret program conducted by the CIA during the Cold War era, with the goal of influencing and manipulating the media to promote its own interests and agendas. The program involved the recruitment of journalists, editors, and other media professionals to serve as covert assets of the agency, with the aim of shaping public opinion and promoting the government's preferred narratives. The program officially ended in the 1970s, but it has since become a subject of conspiracy theories and speculation about the extent to which the U.S. government might still be involved in media manipulation. Some theorists argue that the government continues to use covert tactics to influence and censor the media, and that many news organizations are complicit in advancing the government's preferred narratives. MK Naomi was a highly controversial program conducted by the U.S. government during the Cold War era, with the goal of developing chemical and biological weapons for use in covert operations. The program involved the development and testing of various toxins, including poisons and viruses, as well as the creation of delivery mechanisms for these agents. Many of the program's activities were highly classified and conducted without the knowledge or consent of the American public. As a result, the program has become a subject of intense speculation and conspiracy theories, with some claiming that it was responsible for a range of nefarious activities, including the assassination of political figures and the spreading of diseases among the population. While there is some evidence to suggest that the government did engage in unethical and possibly illegal activities as part of the MK and Naomi program, it is important to approach such claims with a critical eye and to rely on credible sources of information when exploring them. Many of the more extreme claims made about the program are unsupported by evidence and rely on conjecture and speculation. However, the fact that the program was conducted at all raises important questions about the ethics of government-sponsored research and the potential for abuse of power in the pursuit of national security objectives. While there is some evidence to suggest that the government has engaged in media manipulation in the past, it is important to approach such claims with a critical eye and to rely on credible sources of information when exploring them. Many conspiracy theories surrounding Operation Mockingbird are unsupported by credible evidence and rely on conjecture and speculation. However, the fact that such a program was conducted by the CIA does raise important questions about the relationship between the government and the media, and the extent to which the government might be willing to use covert tactics to shape public opinion. While some of these claims may be grounded in legitimate concerns about government overreach and the abuse of power, many lack credible evidence and are dismissed by mainstream sources. It is important to approach such topics with a critical eye and to rely on credible sources of information when exploring them. However, the historical record does show that the U.S. government has engaged in some troubling actions in the past, and it is important to remain vigilant to ensure that such actions do not continue in the present and future.